What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look and a listen to Representative Presley. She's going to be talking about Social Security reform and a Social Security increase. Going to be focused on the Social Security 2100 Act. So we'll take a look at that, and then we're also going to take a look at some polls because there's some polls that I posted last week, and I got some interesting results. So I want to show you guys that. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so first off, we're going to listen to Representative Presley. She's going to be talking about Social Security reform. Here we go.
Is recognized for 1 minute, without objection.
Thank you, Congressman Larson, for your inspired and indefatigable leadership on this critical issue. As someone who represents nearly 100,000 Social Security beneficiaries in the Massachusetts 7th, and as a co-chair of the Task Force on Aging and Families, I'm so proud to be an original co-sponsor of your Social Security 2100 Act. This is a deeply consequential issue that stands to impact individuals from every walk of life, women, children, people of color, veterans, and our seniors who have earned the right to age in dignity. Yet too often, they tell me that doing so is becoming more and more difficult. They share their anxieties from living on a fixed income. They are skeptical of the long-term stability of a system they've paid into, paycheck after paycheck, their entire working lives. People like Mrs. Palmer, who lives in Boston and wrote my office saying that Social Security is a promise, and I agree. It is not merely a government program. Social Security is a promise to workers, to our elders, to the disabled, a promise to all people who seek to age with dignity. And we will keep fighting to keep that promise.
Okay, that was Representative Presley. Now, that was very brief, and what they're doing is they don't have much time left, and so they only have like a minute to speak. And so I think they prepared for like a 5-minute speech, and they had to break that down into just 1 minute. So this is yet another representative that's in favor of Social Security reform, in favor of a Social Security increase. I think there's like 182 lawmakers right now that are in favor of an increase for Social Security. So that's a good thing. That means you have some numbers, but you need 218. So there's still some work to do when it comes to convincing other lawmakers to come on board for Social Security reform and a Social Security increase. You might have some lawmakers that are in favor of Social Security reform, but it might not necessarily be an improvement to Social Security, an expansion of Social Security. It could be cutting Social Security, which we've seen some lawmakers talk about in the past. Okay, I want to get over to some of the polls regarding Social Security that I posted last week, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of them because I thought they were some interesting results. So the first one here says, how often do you follow updates and news about Social Security and related policy? And then 69% of you said on a regular basis, and occasionally when it seems important, that's 25%, and then rarely, it's not on my radar. That was 7%. I would hope that in the future that 7% becomes 0% because I think we all need to be focused on our retirement plans. And part of your plan, most people's plan, is going to be receiving Social Security benefits on top of getting a retirement, having a retirement plan and everything else. Social Security is there to supplement, and you're paying into that contribution your whole life. So you should be able to get some money from Social Security. Okay, let's look at the next poll here. How important is Social Security to your retirement planning? And we had 1,300 people participate in this poll, and 89% says it's essential. I rely heavily on it. 89%, okay? That's out of 1,300 people in this poll, 89% said that they rely on Social Security heavily. And then the 8% here says important, but I have other plans too. And then 2% says not important, I have alternative plans. Okay, so you see a very small number of people don't rely on Social Security at all. Very, very low number, okay, according to this poll. All right, let's move forward. And this was 1,500% of the people participated in this poll. What change do you most want to see in the Social Security system? So we have 91% of people polled said increased benefits for all. And then we have 6% of the people polled said higher income cap for contributions. And then we have 3% that said more investment options for funds. Okay, so that last poll response, I want to talk a little bit about this because what they're talking about there when it comes to having different investment options for your funds, they're talking about privatized Social Security. This is very dangerous because if you're taking money out of the system, that will impact people who are currently receiving Social Security because you're taking money from the payroll contribution and you're investing that money. So I'm always skeptical when I hear politicians talking about we can take some of that money and invest that money. That should not be an option at this point. We don't have leftover money. Back, let's say 15, 20 years ago, we had leftover money. There was money that was going into a surplus, so there was excess money. We don't have that any longer. And so the people who are working right now paying into the payroll contribution, that isn't enough to fully fund Social Security. So that's why they're taking from the trust fund right now. So if we were to take some of that payroll contribution that people are putting in right now and allow people to invest it, then you're taking that money out of the system and you're going to need even more money coming from the Social Security Trust Fund. So this option shouldn't, it was 3% on here. It should be 0 because we can't afford to do that at this point. And they're talking about in 10 years, the trust fund will run out of money. Well, could you imagine if they made a change and said you can contribute, you can invest some of your contribution, then that 10 years would be like 7 years or maybe even 6 years where the trust fund will run out of money because you're going to have to take more money out of the trust fund. Okay, let's take a look at the next poll here. What's your biggest concern with the current Social Security system? And we had 900 people participate in this poll. 22% says sustainability for future generations. 63% of the people says adequate benefits for retirees. And 15% said fair contributions for all income levels. Okay, so I'm going to just keep moving because I want to get all these done here. So the last poll here is 1,300 people participated. Should high earners contribute more to Social Security funding? Absolutely. It's only fair, 83%. No, it could discourage earning more. That's 6%. And then maybe depends on the cap, and that's 11%. Okay, and so we're basically talking about raising the cap so people who are making more are paying more into the contribution or continuing to pay into the contribution. I shouldn't say paying more. They're just continuing to pay into contribution. And I want to talk a little bit more about this because this is an argument that I hear a lot when it comes to discouraging people. So we had 6% in this poll that believe that. So discouraging people from making more money because they have to continue paying into the payroll tax. Well, people who are working right now, if you're working right now, let's say you're making $80,000 a year, are you discouraged of making more money because you have to pay into the payroll contribution? No. And so if we raise the cap and people had to continue to pay into the payroll contribution, I don't see an issue with that. Some can argue that, well, people who are making a lot of money, they're not going to rely on Social Security or they're not going to get their money's worth, if you want to look at it that way, when it comes to Social Security. But when it comes down to it, if you're making more money, I'm pretty sure you're not going to tell yourself, I don't want to raise because I don't want to have to pay more into the payroll contribution. Because I'll tell you now, if I'm making millions of dollars, I would have no problem contributing 6.2%. And it's money that you're going to be able to receive when you retire. So 6.2%, I don't mind contributing that 6.2% if I'm making millions. And so just in my opinion, I think that argument is pretty weak. But I want to know what you guys think about the polls and what you guys think about Social Security 2100 Act. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
This Congress can't pass gas, and he needs to run against a do-nothing Congress. And I think that can give them some traction that he did not have before. But, maybe they could get Rudy Giuliani to be Speaker. We know he can pass gas for sure. But this is almost comical.